Vishwakarma married his daughter, Sanya, to Suryadeva, the sun god. But Sanya soon found herself unable to bear the intense heat and shine of Surya. Struggling under the relentless warmth, she eventually left him without notice and descended to earth, where she took on the form of a horse to live in seclusion. Realizing her absence, Suryadeva searched across all realms. When he finally discovered her on earth, he transformed himself into a horse to join her. In their equine forms, Surya and Sanya were reunited, and from their union, 2 twin sons were born. Despite their parents' transformation, the twins appeared in human form and were named Nasatya and Dasru. Blessed by their divine lineage, the twins grew wise in Ayurveda, the ancient science of healing, becoming symbols of health and vitality. Through their mastery of healing arts, they brought wellness to all, and over time, these divine twins became known as the Ashwini Devatas, revered as the celestial physicians and embodiments of good health. Pandu maintained a steady stream of messages between Shatashringa and Hastinapura using trained pigeons. He proudly sent news of the birth of his sons, while receiving updates about the birth of Dhritarashtra's sons and news of Shakuni's marriage and the birth of his son. In Shatashringa, Kunthi was now held in the highest regard, having borne children sired by the gods themselves. The sages, observing the greatness that seemed to surround her children, recognized her as the mother whose sons would be remembered throughout history for eternity. But this respect Kunthi received weighed heavily on Maadri's heart. Though a noble Kshatriya herself, she felt overshadowed, quietly aware of Kunthi's role in continuing the Kuru dynasty with 3 sons, while in Hastinapura, Gandhari was delivering 100 heirs. Maadri, unable to bear even a single child, felt a deep sadness. Her mind was plagued by the fear that, without children of her own, she would one day be overlooked by Pandu and his sons. This fear grew with each passing day. Fearing that her grief might be mistaken for jealousy, she held her silence, concealing her hurt and isolating herself from the joy surrounding her. Maadri could not escape the belief ingrained in her that a woman who had not experienced motherhood was scarcely considered a woman at all. This thought brought an ache to her heart, and she struggled silently to conceal her sorrow, unwilling to appear envious. But her feelings were too powerful to suppress, and she often withdrew, shedding tears in solitude to release her pain. One day, overcome by sorrow, Maadri retreated to weep alone, hoping to release some of the weight she had been carrying in silence. Pandu, however, happened upon her in that vulnerable moment. Shocked to see her in such despair, he urged her to reveal the cause of her pain. Maadri, though reluctant at first, yielded to his concern. She confessed her sorrow, that while Gandhari had 100 sons and Kunthi had borne 3 sons of great lineage, she herself had no child to hold, to nurture, or to carry on her name. She reminded Pandu of the importance of motherhood, the fulfillment it brought to a woman, and her own longing to be called mother. Understanding the depth of her sorrow, Pandu recalled the subtle changes in her demeanor since Kunthi began bearing children. Feeling her pain keenly, he went to Kunthi and explained Maadri's plight. He asked Kunthi to share with Maadri the sacred mantra gifted by Devata, hoping that Maadri too could experience the joy of motherhood. Kunthi explained that there was a condition attached to the mantra. If she passed on the secret of the mantra to another, that person could use it only once, and from that point on, the mantra would lose its power, unable to be invoked again even by Kunthi. Upon hearing this, Pandu fell into deep confusion. If Kunthi gave the mantra to Maadri, Maadri could use it once, but after that, Pandu would be unable to have more sons. But if Kunthi kept the mantra to herself, Pandu could have as many sons as he wished with any god in the world. Pandu realized that if he asked Kunthi not to share the secret mantra to ensure more sons, it would be an act of selfishness on his part in this critical situation. With compassion overcoming his desire for legacy, Pandu made his decision, choosing to relieve Maadri of her silent suffering. He requested that Kunthi reveal the mantra to Maadri, despite knowing this would be his last chance to have more children. Following her husband's wish, Kunthi taught Maadri the sacred invocation, detailing the process with utmost care. Understanding the significance of this final invocation, Pandu suggested to Maadri that she call upon the Ashwini Devatas, Nasatya and Dasru, the twin gods known for their healing and health. Twin gods would grant her not just one son, but two, ensuring a powerful bond of brotherhood for her sons. Maadri followed Kunthi's instructions, performing the sacred bath in the river before ascending the hilltop. There, in the quiet sanctity of nature, she chanted the mantra with devotion. The Ashwini Devatas descended to earth in answer to her call. In their divine presence, Maadri felt a profound connection, and the twin gods united with her. Through Sodyo Garbham, she bore twin sons instantly. The birth of these divine sons lifted Maadri's sorrow, filling her heart with joy and gratitude. She now held in her arms the children she had longed for, her own legacy within the Kuru lineage. Pandu, witnessing this moment, felt fulfilled, knowing that his decision had brought happiness to Maadri. As Pandu looked upon his twin sons, his heart swelled with profound happiness. His journey, marked by prayer, sacrifice, and a yearning for heirs, had now been fulfilled. The sages gathered to name the twins, carefully choosing titles that reflected their destined qualities and virtues. They named the firstborn Nakula, which means one who is without fault, or free from defects. The name also represents the mongoose, an animal known for its agility, cleverness, and protective nature. Qualities the sages saw as emblematic of this child's future. The second twin was named Sahadeva, meaning one who is with the gods, or one who is equal to the gods. This name, embodying wisdom and divine insight, reflected the blessings and foresight the child would carry, signifying a mind endowed with divine grace and understanding. Drupada, who had harbored resentment for years and undertook intense penance in the Himalayas, driven by his desire for Bhishma's downfall. The memory of his humiliation remained vivid in his mind, stemming from the moment he had faced insult before his ministers and court. His pride had been deeply wounded when a rejection from Hastinapura had arrived in response to Jarasanda's challenge to Panchala. That rejection had left an indelible mark on Drupada, intensifying his determination to seek justice and redemption through divine intervention. After years of unwavering devotion, Lord Shiva appeared before him, moved by the intensity of Drupada's tapasya. Recognizing Drupada's determination, Shiva granted him a boon. A son would be born to Drupada, a son who would one day be the cause of Bhishma's demise. Drupada was elated, his heart swelling with pride at the thought of his own son achieving the impossible, bringing down the mighty Bhishma, whom even Parashurama, an incarnation of Vishnu, had not defeated. With this divine assurance, Drupada returned to Panchala, filled with a new sense of purpose and pride. Upon his return, his wife, Prishadi, welcomed him with joy, her heart lightened by his presence after such a long time. When Drupada shared the details of Shiva's boon with her, her happiness doubled. Both eagerly awaited the birth of this child who, by Shiva's blessing, would alter the course of history. In due time, Prishadi became pregnant, and the kingdom, sharing in their excitement, awaited the arrival of the future prince. When the day of delivery arrived, everyone, including Drupada, eagerly awaited the birth of the son prophesied to bring about Bhishma's downfall. But when the maid assisting in the delivery called him into the chamber, what he saw left him utterly shocked. The child born to Prishadi was not the son he had awaited, but a daughter. Drupada struggled to comprehend how this had happened. The supreme god, Shiva himself, had promised a son destined to end Bhishma's life. Then how could a girl have been born? Thinking swiftly and with caution, Drupada decided to conceal this unexpected turn. He gifted the maids with ample jewelry and wealth, instructing them to keep the birth of a daughter a secret. Only the story of a son's birth was to leave the chamber. Drupada issued a stern warning, declaring that if word ever spread that a girl had been born, not a boy, their lives would be at stake, and their heads would adorn the palace walls. Terrified by the king's words, the maids agreed to maintain absolute secrecy, ensuring that the world would know only of the birth of a prince. When Prishadi recovered, she too was taken aback by the unexpected turn of events. She and Drupada discussed their confusion, grappling with the idea that Shiva's words could seem unfulfilled, but their faith in the god's prophecy remained unshaken. They believed that the divine boon must hold truth, even if its form was beyond their understanding. Deciding that Shiva's words would indeed come to pass, they resolved to raise their daughter as a son. Drupada publicly announced the birth of a prince, declaring the arrival of his long-awaited heir. To mark this auspicious occasion, he organized a grand celebration throughout the kingdom, filling every corner of Panchala with festivities and joy. The palace courtyard was adorned with vibrant banners and garlands, while musicians played joyful melodies that echoed through the city, creating an atmosphere of jubilation. The child was named Shikhandi, meaning one who wears a crown, establishing her identity as a prince. And though Drupada's expectations had taken an unexpected shape, he remained convinced that the prophecy of Bhishma's downfall would one day be fulfilled through Shikhandi, just as Lord Shiva had promised. As this new generation of warriors entered the world, each carried with them a unique essence, forged by their distinct mindsets, values, and strengths. In a world already complex with alliances, rivalries, and hidden ambitions, these young heirs were bound to shape the future in unforeseen ways. Their divergent paths, shaped by varying ideals and powers, would not only test their destinies, but redefine the world they inherited. Each would face challenges that would carve them into legends, and as their stories intertwined, they would leave an indelible mark on the course of history. The future of kingdoms, alliances, and the very balance of Dharma lay in their hands. The dawn of a new era awaited, and with it, a tale of loyalty, ambition, rivalry, and destiny that would echo through time forever.